So I spent 20 years working in the insurance industry, and 2 years ago I took a sabbatical and left my corporate job to go travel the world. I visited 66 countries, and in that year I received a Guinness World Record for being the first person to travel to 66 countries using a wheelchair. I grew up in a small town in Ohio. I had a fantastic family, very supportive. When I was born, the doctors instantly knew that there was something going on. My feet had some deformities. We spent much of my childhood traveling around the country, seeking out treatment, which is really what sparked my interest in traveling. I actually stopped walking when I was 5 years old, started using a wheelchair full time. So for me, using a wheelchair is all I've ever known and all I ever will know. I got the idea to go after the Guinness World Record when I was starting to plan my year around the world where I was just going to go travel. And I was going on this trip alone. So I was doing a lot of research about solo travel. I was also doing a lot of research about disability travel. And I realized that the intersection of solo travel and disability travel didn't really exist. I would encounter situations where accessibility was difficult. For example, not having a ramp to cross the street, or not being able to get into a public restroom, and complete strangers who knew none of my language, I did not know their language, would come and pick me up in my wheelchair to help me across the street. And at the end, the only way we communicate was with a head nod or a wave, and we both felt really good about what had just transpired. And that reset my views on humanity and launched me onto a completely different path in life, and I'm a much better person for it. I felt much of my childhood as though I was the only one going through a difficult time in life, coming from a very small town and experiencing the world in a larger sense and seeing that other people maybe had bigger challenges than me was really eye-opening. The people that I encountered with disabilities had wheelchairs because we were out in public settings. When I started getting deeper into my travels, and I can remember a very specific time in Sri Lanka where I was invited into someone's home, there was a woman about my age who had 2 children, and her parents were there. Her father was the one that had been injured and stayed on their living room floor, and he had been there for a number of years. Many of these people aren't leaving their homes because they can't. And that's when I realized how many people don't have the freedom that I have to go out and see the world. It's hard for me to picture my life without a wheelchair. It has given me freedom, independence, the ability to have an education. It's given me life. I have been an ambassador for Free Wheelchair Mission, and it has been one of the most rewarding things I have done in my life. The generosity of people coming out of the woodwork has really reminded me, like so much of the rest of the world, how much kindness is in my backyard. I would encourage anyone who is interested in getting involved with Free Wheelchair Mission to start with the webpage, freewheelchairmission.org. A wheelchair is $96, and one $96 donation changes an entire life.